blended learning activities that you did. Some of it will be new. This one tastes really stale for some of them. So, did everybody do the blended activity when I was gone?
Yes.
Yeah. Was Mr. Wellman here then, or had he already left? Okay. So let's continue on with power and power supplies. So I said last time we were together that you have to know the different voltages of different plugs in order to do some of the computation stuff that we do. The one thing that we don't know that's dependent on the device is the amperage that goes through that voltage. And remember last time we also said that watts or total power equals volts times amps. So giving the amperage, knowing the voltage, we can figure out the wattage, okay, or the power that's required for a particular PC. We already did this, right? That was part of the blended activity, so I'll just go on. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet is EMI. EMI is interference that's caused by electricity. So we can have things go wrong with our PC just due to the proximity to other things that create electricity. So if we've got a PC that's right next to another PC and they're acting weird and we move them apart and then all of a sudden they work fine, it's very possible that they had EMI was the cause of the problem. We have that with projectors actually all the time, or every once in a while I should say. The cable from the projector runs all the way back down the wall and into that computer over there. All these projectors that are ones that myself with our students installed, and if during the installation process we weren't careful with where we ran the cable, and the cable runs right across the power of one of these overhead lights, that light can cause EMI. So sometimes we'll go in a room and we'll see like a double image and it will look real weird and we're like, what the heck's going on with that projection? What's really going on is I have to go up in the tiles and move the cable usually, because there's EMI from something causing a distortion in the signal that makes it mess up, okay? That can happen with Ethernet cables. It can happen with any cable that carries electricity or a signal through it. So sometimes we have to be careful with EMI, and we have to be cognizant of EMI that it can cause problems, okay? So if you've wired up your house for internet and you ran all the cables right next to a huge bundle of power cables, and my internet never works right, Mr. Poole, it could be that your network cable is run too close to power cables, and so they're getting EMI. Cables can be shielded. You can put conduit around cables to shield them as well. When it comes to shielded stuff, the best thing you can have with PCs is a metal case, a plastic case, or a case with a nice, cool, clear exterior. Actually allows EMI to get through to your PC or out of your PC really easily. We used to have huge problems with EMI when we used to have those big CRT monitors that we don't have anymore. We have all flat screens here at school. But the monitor, if it was too close to a PC that was in a plastic case, could cause enough electromagnetic interference that it would actually screw up the computer. Okay, our first major objective for today is understand power problems that affect PC and what we can do to protect against them and protect for those power problems, okay? So we've got three different kind of power conditions that can affect our PC on a daily basis at home, here at school, or anywhere, okay? And those are called brownouts, spikes or surges are the same thing, or blackouts, okay? So if we say a normal power is 110 volts coming out of our outlet there, okay? If that's normal, a brownout is when we have a temporary reduction in voltage and then it comes back at some point. So if 110 is our normal, maybe it drops down to 100 volts used to happen here at Trail all the time. We used to have brownouts all the time here where the lights would flicker because the power would get just to the point where it couldn't maintain the bulbs. So you get the bulbs would be flashing and stuff, and then they might come back, okay? So brownouts are temporary reductions in voltage. Okay, that's a definition of a brownout. A surge or a spike is the exact opposite. It's where our power is normally at 110 and it jumps way up for whatever reason and then comes back. It's a temporary increase. In voltage. Happens all the time. We get tons of little tiny spikes at our house that we never even know about. We get big ones at our house that we do know about. If it's an electrical storm, we definitely notice those. But there are all kinds of variations in our power that happens all the time. Even if we say 110 is normal, it might go down, might go up, but it's not like our power is perfect. It doesn't stay right at 110 all the time. And spikes, brownouts aren't going to hurt our equipment, although they might turn off our PC. If it drops low enough below what's required to run the PC, it can definitely just turn off. It can happen with any of your electrical equipment. That doesn't hurt things, other than you might lose data. Spikes definitely can hurt things. Yeah, good.
Last week, or the week before that, during an electrical storm, my work, the computer and everything got all messed up. It blue screen, and that was the end of it. They had to get a replacement for the week.
Okay. These are bad. These can cause lots of problems. And I will tell you that you may never even know that you've got bad power other than things don't work right. Case in point, my wife used to have a store downtown Eaton called Callie's Cottage where they redid furniture and sold furniture. She went through 3 portable phones in that they only had one place that the plug was. It was way in the back of the store, so they had portable phones. She went through 3 portable phones in the manner of 2 weeks. We kept taking it back to Walmart and getting another phone, and taking it back to Walmart and getting another phone. And then I got a surge protector and put it on it, and the phone never went bad again. Because the power was really bad, either in the building or from DP&L or from the power pole, because it could be the power, when our power comes in on the power line, it's way above 110. Okay, that's why it can, when the power lines are ground, it can kill you. And then we see at our telephone pole, we see those big, huge transformers that then run power to our houses. Okay, those turn this power down to something that our house can take. I couldn't tell you what it is on the power line. I don't know. I've never looked it up. I'm sure you could. Okay, but these transformers lower the power, and if this is bad right here or failing, then the power for DP&L maybe, or Dark Electric, whatever you have, may be fine up there in the pole, but it could be that local transformer that has something wrong with it. They don't always have to be on poles, it can be on the ground too, that runs to all the businesses. And if that's bad, then we're all going to get bad power. And by bad power, I mean not level, not good power, okay? So it's most likely that that transformer that her building was on was bad or going bad. So she would have little micro spikes all the time. It would take out, these are all little transformer rectifiers right here that change AC into DC. Same thing with the little ones that you use to power your cell phone, or the ones that we use to plug in portable phones. They all have some kind of adapter that plugs into the wall, because they all that little power brick that's plugged into the wall, because all those electronic things take DC power. So those things turn them from AC to DC, and you get enough spikes, and it burns them up, just like it does to power supplies and computers. That's why it's usually the first thing to go, because over time we've had thousands of spikes that we don't even know about. And eventually it just burned, that last one just burned out the power supply. So spikes are temporary increases. They can be huge and fry the whole computer at one time, and you know where it came from because of an electrical storm, or all of a sudden your stereo just stops working. You're like, why did my stereo work? Well, because it's gotten tons of these over the last 5 years, and that was the last one it could take. Okay? And we're going to talk about the devices we use to protect from those. Blackouts are total losses of electrical power. Okay? And we have devices that we can purchase that solve all these different problems. Okay? That solve brownouts and surges and spikes and blackouts. Okay? And that's what the subject of this today is. Okay? So we have, now let me do this. Where's my little thing? There, right there. That's what I want. Okay. So let's talk about one at a time. Okay, so the first thing we have to protect electrical equipment is surge suppressors. Okay? This is a surge suppressor. And this, here. I'm going to go get 2 things out of the closet. I need my keys. Sorry, I have to grab this before you just came in. I got a lot of tats. Okay, this is a surge protector. This is not. How different do they look? Not a lot. Okay? They both have little red on and off switches, which has nothing to do with surge protection. All it does is turn on the outlets. Okay? The only difference between these two is that it has a light that says protected on, as far as you can tell when you look at it. Okay? Now, if I read the back, it would tell me stuff. If I read the back, it would tell me stuff. But a lot of people, when they have a power strip, think they have a surge protector, and they don't. Okay? What surge protectors or surge suppressors do is they have circuitry in them that protects from spikes. Okay? So all these do is protect from spikes or surges. They do nothing else. I mean, other than give you more outlets. Okay? This is the cheapest protection that you can have. And it's something you should have on every expensive electrical device in your house. Okay? If you've got a big 52-inch flat screen TV that's not on a surge protector, you're doing something wrong. Because just like the power brick goes out on my wife's phone 3 times in a matter of a week or 2, it could burn out the power supply inside your TV. And Walmart's not going to take back that TV 2 years later because you burned it out. Okay? So you want to get surge protectors. You can get these as little as $10 and as much as $40. And the difference in the kind of surge protector that you get is the maximum voltage that it can handle. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to Google surge protector. Maybe we'll even go on Amazon. Look there, right there. We'll go to Amazon and see what Amazon has for surge protectors. Don't need that. Okay, so when I look at this Trip Light surge protector here for $9.69, we'll see if Amazon gives us the kind of information that we need. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it protects against 790 joules. Does it have a warranty? Has a LED that shows whether we're protected or not, which is important. Okay, and there we go. Look, lifetime warranty and $20,000 ultimate lifetime insurance for connected devices. Whenever I buy a surge protector, I want it to have that. Okay? Which means that if my 52-inch flat screen TV is plugged into it and I get an electrical storm and it burns out the power supply in there, which is not something I just unplug, because in my TV it's just a regular power cord that plugs into the back. The power supply is inside there and I don't have to replace one on an LED TV. Okay? It means that they'll replace my stuff up to 20 grand. Mrs. Eels, does everybody know Mrs. Eels? It used to be our home ec teacher here. We had that conversation, oh gosh, it was probably 8 years ago now. And she asked what she should do, and I said, you need to get one and go there, and how much is it? It's $9.69, free shipping, okay, to get this. Not a lot of money, and it will protect your equipment. The big gotcha with this is almost all of them say you need your original packaging and your receipt. So if you buy this, you stick your receipt in the box and throw it in your attic. You do not throw it away. And she listened to me. And they had an electrical storm and her computer got wiped out. She called them and she got a brand new computer for free. A way better computer than she had because her computer was pretty darn old. So she went from having kind of a computer that probably should have been thrown away anyway to a brand new computer. It wasn't a high-end brand new computer, but it was way better than the computer she had. So you can see that you don't have to pay a lot to get one with a warranty. Now, I will tell you that you're going to pay different for the amount of joules that it can protect against. Okay, so if you are really worried about whether, although I'm going to tell you that that's all I really care about because they're going to replace it anyway. But if I go up to this one, this one has a desk clamp, so it hooks on your desk. This one has rotating plugs, and you can see on this one, it also has places for your phone line to come in and out, your cable to come in and out, because electricity doesn't just hit your house from one kind of cord, right? It could just as easily hit your cable cord, so you could put this one near where your cable comes in, you put your cable in there and have it come out there, and then it'll shunt off the electricity coming in for your cable that we could take out your TV just as easily, and same thing with your phone line coming in and out. Okay, so if I had one spot where all those wires came in, which I do in my basement, I could put one of these there, and then I've got those things protected as well. Okay, highly recommend having at least that $9.69 one on where your good TV is, where your stereo is, anything that you're like, in my opinion, costs over $100 to replace, you should probably think about it. Some of these warranties come with deductibles. I mean, this one might even be, and then you have to read it, might be a $250 deductible on it. But if it took out a really nice computer, and you only had to pay $250 for a brand new one, versus I gotta buy a brand new one, it's still, for $9, it's a pretty good deal, okay? So that's what a surge protector does, and if we look back here, there's tons of different variations in price. This one, I don't know why the blue tech's more. Let's see if we can find our most expensive one that we've got on here. There's a Belkin 12 one for $33. That's about the most expensive one I see on there, isn't it? Do I see any other ones? I got these for my kid for when he went to college because it's easy to just plug it on the wall outlet and then he got all his stuff sitting there. I like the wall ones like that near stereos just because last thing you want is another mess of cables, right? And if you've already got your stereo plugged in, there's no reason not to just change your wall outlet to a six outlet wall outlet. That's what I use at my house. Let's see what the protection is. This is $50,000 worth of equipment, and this one goes to 1,045 joules. Okay. Now no one's going to come and say, "Oh, you had an electrical strike." First of all, if you have the problem, you don't say I had a thunderstorm. Just say something happened, my equipment got zapped, and it doesn't work anymore. I wouldn't say there was a big electrical storm, my house got hit, and there's a hole in the side of the wall or something. Okay, if you're calling them for insurance. But so this one's got 50,000. The joule rating means it can handle a larger spike before your equipment gets hurt. So if you're trying to protect stuff, okay, so I'm now paying 20 more cents for almost twice the joule rating and 2.5 times insurance. Probably I like this one. So that's how I compare those things when I'm looking at them. I want to look at the joules and I want to look at the warranty to say which one's going to give me the best one. Let's look at where's the one that we were just. Expensive. There we go. $34. No, is that the one I just clicked on? No. Oh, that is the one. Is it? Did I click on this one, or am I losing my brain? No, that's a different one. Okay, so this one pay different for whether it wall mounts, whether it has an 8-foot plug or 6-foot plug. I guess. Apparently it's the same. Look at this one. This one goes up to 4,300 joules. That last one was only 1,045. So that's what I'm getting for that. 3 times the price. I'm getting almost 4 times the protection for my stuff. Uh,
There's a $300,000 one.
$300,000. How do you have $300,000 worth of equipment plugged into that? That'd be pretty tough. You got some nice stuff on your
$1,000
system. Huh?
Isn't that more than
$10,000.
Well, yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 300,000 divided by 12. I mean, yeah, everything
There's
is
like
at 50 grand.
Movie theater TVs.
So, my point is, that you're more than protected with this one. I like the wall one only because it creates a less problem. This one's not as good. Look, when I went to wall, it goes down to 1,000. So the 8-foot one is your. Let's see, is that your best protection? Yeah, 4,300 joules. Now, doesn't even say. I wouldn't buy one that doesn't even tell you how many joules it protects against. So if I was trying to do some good stuff, man, that's some good stuff right there.
Everyone buy that.
14 gauge heavy duty cord, $300,000 worth of protection. Wow, that's pretty nice. Of course, it's $32, and if you only have a couple $1,000s worth of equipment, the $20,000 warranty probably do you just fine. Okay, so those are surge protectors. They only protect against spikes. Okay, surge protectors or surge suppressors only protect against spikes, and I would highly, highly recommend you have one. Okay, now on my laptop, if I hit a spike, what's going to burn out? This brick is going to burn out. Most likely, I'm never going to lose a laptop due to power surge. I'm just going to lose a power brick. My power brick, depending on the kind, $30 to $80. If I buy the original one, it's more like $80. In my PC, I'm going to lose my power supply. Depending on the power supply, it's a $15 to $80 replacement. Okay, but again, this is $9. So I would highly recommend getting a surge suppressor. So that only protects against spikes. So if you saw a matchy question with the 3 brownout, blackout spikes, and you saw surge protector as one of the options, you would put that with spikes. Okay. Power conditioners are not something you can buy. They're something installed in buildings. We have a power conditioner here at National Trail. Okay. Power conditioners only help with brownouts. Okay. Power conditioners are installed in buildings to try to level out the power, to make all the power clean, and they protect against brownouts. So they supply power. We have a backup generator. If we have a brownout, if the power goes down low enough, that'll kick on, that'll supplement our power. Okay, so power conditioners, I can't go and buy one. I'm pretty sure if I Google it on or look at it on Amazon, I won't find one. Let's look. It's probably going to prove me wrong. Power conditioner, look there. They do sell one. Let's see what it says it is. Okay, so this is a rack mountable one that would go with your server or whatever. Here's one, their voltage regulator that apparently must try to do the same thing. This is the next thing we're going to talk about. It's not really a power conditioner. It's really a battery backup system. So they sell them for server closets to try to keep your power even. So I wonder how many plugs. I got one plug. So it's basically got a battery in it to try to keep the power level if it drops down a little bit. Okay. So power conditioners only protect against brownouts. And the last thing we have is, I call them UPSs. Everybody all my tech students say it's not an UPS, and I'm like, well, if I call it UPS, you're going to think it's a guy in a brown suit. Okay, it's a UPS, or uninterruptible power supply, or UPS, or I say UPS. So if I say, hey, go check out the UPS in the closet, I'm talking about the UPS. Okay, an uninterruptible power supply is made for blackouts. It's made for blackouts, but it's the only one that protects against all three. Okay? So in a matching, if you can only use one at a time, UPSs go against blackouts, but you need to know that UPS also protects against spikes. It also protects against brownouts. It does it all. A UPS does it all. Now, UPS looks a lot like a power strip or a surge protector. This is a UPS. It's a really small, crappy one, but it is one. Okay? It has a battery in it. And so what happens is this unit holds power. It's got 350 volt amps, which I think is probably as low as you can go, okay, as far as how much power it can hold. The idea being if we have a blackout, it will run, whatever's plugged into it will run off the battery that's in here until the battery is dead, okay? And a smart UPS has a connection, this one is not. Smart UPS has a connection that goes to your computer to tell your computer how much power it has so it can tell you to turn off the computer, turn itself off. Okay, back here in the corner I have two UPSes. Actually there's three UPSes in this room. Right there, there's an UPS. You're gonna look, stand up, look. Okay, that is one of our old UPSes that I took out of the closet. That black one right there has rack mounting stuff that goes in the closet. There's one back there next to that computer over there. And there's one up in the front on the floor right down here running all this stuff. These UPSes have 2200 volt amps. So this has 350. Those have 2200 volt amps, which means they have way more power, way bigger batteries. They're heavier than crap. Okay? They're really, really heavy. If I said go grab a couple UPSes and carry them upstairs, you would need help. This one has, and all of them are the same, they have 8 plugs in them. So if we lose power and we're imaging a computer over here or I'm working over there, I'm not even going to know. I mean, I'm going to know because the lights went out, but my computer's not going to stop. My monitors aren't going to go off. None of those things are going to be affected because I'm on an UPS. I don't have any UPSes at home. You could, they're more expensive. The UPS that these replaced or were replaced by were $450 a piece. Okay? And we're going to go and I'm going to show you where they are in the closets. But basically all of our network equipment is on uninterruptible power supplies. So that if the power goes out, the servers stay on, the network stays on, the Wi-Fi stays on for about an hour. So the power goes out, power comes back, you're fine. If you're on a laptop, you won't even know. Because as long as you have power in your battery, right? So you're going to just keep going, the Wi-Fi is still going to be blue, and we're all going to be happy. Okay? For a set period of time until the battery's dead. But so the UPS protects against surges, spikes, brownouts, and blackouts, but they're made for blackouts. Okay? And when we go to look at UPSes, there's different ways that they're rated. Okay? Just like these are, I'm going to go ahead and go to UPS. And when we look at them, there's a nice little crappy one, okay? Which would be perfectly fine for your computer at your desk as long as you don't plug everything into it. Okay, this is only 550 volt amps. So that's how much total power is stored in there that it can let out. And the volt amps is how they're rated. And something like this, or like this one that only has 350, if you've got a gamer PC, it won't even keep it on. Just turn off. It's like it doesn't even have an UPS on. Okay? My gamer PC at home, this would not even keep running for 1 millisecond. Just shut off. It doesn't have enough throughput power from this battery to keep that 800 watt power supply running. However, if you've got a regular PC, if this was plugged into this PC, and if you didn't overload it with everything else, this one in particular I think came from Mrs. Hoke's desk, and she had her PC, her monitor, her heater underneath the desk in the wintertime. She had all those things plugged into it, and so when the power went out, it did nothing, because that heater is pulling so much wattage, it's crazy. And they go, pick, and everything turned off. I thought I had an UPS. And like, yeah, you did, but it can't handle all that, okay? And the volt ampage is how we look at the rating to see what can be what. So this one's only got 550, which actually is okay for a little desk one. That's only 350, like I said. This one's 1500, which would be great for a gamer PC or somebody who's just running themselves. If you had this next to your PC and had it plugged into your PC like that one in the back is, it tells my PC and it automatically shuts down when there's 3 minutes of power remaining. No matter what I'm doing, if there's 3 minutes left, it does a save and orderly shutdown and turns off the computer. Okay, I had to install software on the PC to do that. There's a USB cable that runs from the UPS to the PC, but it tells it all the time how much power is in the battery. And the computer, the program always runs in the background, shuts itself down. You can do the same thing with something like that. I'm going to go price high to low to show you the upper end of UPSes. 70 grand. They're not cheap when you're talking about for an industry-sized business, okay? This 70,000, okay, that's what the K means, right? K is for 1,000. That's a 70,000 volt amp tower,
The one
okay?
below it's 80,000.
Okay, there we go. 80. Look how much more you get for that extra 10,000 volt amps. This is one that obviously it's a huge rack mount thing that goes in your server closet. So if I mean, it would be awesome to be able to afford something like that. We can't. Okay, that's like my whole budget for 5 years. Yeah.
So, what if you have something that has the power supply of the exact same wattage of the ups?
Then it'll probably run. It'll keep it running. The question is how long. And I can't give you an equation for that, but really smart ones, and I'll show you in the closet, have a little push button. I can push the button, and it'll say we'll run for 67 minutes, based on what's running in there right now. Okay? So it'll tell me how long it'll keep running. This one is not that smart. It's not smart at all. Okay? But ones with the USB, if you have it plugged into your computer, the software will tell you will continue to run for 8 minutes. Maybe it'll only be 8 or 9 minutes. But if the question is, am I just trying to keep my computer from blue screening or messing up my hard drive or something, all you really want it to do is shut down your dang computer. So if you're here at school, the computer's running at home, and we have a big electrical storm, it goes, shuts it down, and you're like, woo, yay. Okay. Whereas right now mine's running at home and something happens. Too bad for me.
I was wondering because if I might want one for like my PS4 because if they shut off without you turning them off.
Excellent.
Everything.
Yeah, right. Excellent point. Yeah, and obviously you don't want the $80,000 one. But this one is probably, let's see if it even says the dimensions of it down here. Okay, so it's roughly taller than 5 feet. It's 5.5 feet tall, 20 inches deep, or 20.5 inches wide, and 37 inches deep. And it weighs 1,637 pounds. Okay, it would take a couple of us to put it in, maybe 2 of us. It's a joke. So this one is huge. You can't really tell from the picture. It's got 8 coolers in the back. It's on wheels, so we can just bring it right up the elevator, no problem. Huh?
How long and width?
It's 5.5 feet, not quite 6 feet tall, 67 inches, 28 inches wide, and 37 inches deep.
Let's get a couple of those. We can put it on box spring.
So, yeah, there you go. Just make a bunk bed out of it. So, but this is what's in banks, big businesses, Swolka that supplies our internet. If you went in their server room's about this size, okay? And one whole side of the room is these, and the other whole side of it's like you walk down a kind of a hallway. There's like right in the middle, there's a row of UPSs, and on the other side, there's a row of all their server equipment, okay? So if they lose power, everything keeps going. How long, I don't know. And it's not like they have 20 of these, but they have ones like this. They have nice, big, huge ones that keep their enterprise stuff running. So you can see they can be really expensive. Obviously, we're not looking in the $60,000 range. Those are really nice. I mean, they really are. I'd love to be able to have one of those in the closet, but they're just prohibitively expensive. This one, we just dropped down to 40,000 volt amps. It's still $58,000. 20,000 volt amps, $23,000. Man, that's just crazy. And then all of a sudden we drop down to normal. Oh wait, we still have more. 48,000. And those are all big, huge building level ones. Oh my gosh, there's still 26,000. How many people buy those on Amazon? I'm just wondering. It just seems like not an Amazon-y purchase that you would get. Now look, we're down to 18,000, 30,000 volt amps. And that's way more. Let's see. Ours are 220 volt amps in our closet. All of ours are 220, and I've got in the main closet, I think 5. I think there's 5. So what do we got? 0, 0, 0, 1. So we've got 11,000 in our closet. So, and those cost, I'm going to say 500. They weren't 500, but let's say they were. So that's $2,500 we spent on our 11,000 volt amps we've got in our closet. So let's see, if we were to spend 11,000 on one, what would we get? We're already down at, okay, it's 18,000, we're saying 11,000, 16,000, 15,000 for $16,000. Actually, it looks like it's going to be pretty close. 30,000. Let's just get down to $11,000 and see what we're looking at there. If we were to spend, I'm sorry, it's $250. What am I? Or $2,500. We're not even close. So we're 20. That's still twice as much as we've got on ours. And ours are keeping it for a solid hour. So when we get to the 11, 13, we're really close to what it would have cost if we would have bought a big huge one. Oh no, I keep saying 11,000. That's the voltage, not what we spent. We spent $2,500. I can't even get that far. I could sit here clicking forever. But so just so you know, we spent $2,500, but we only had to pay 20% of the cost. So we paid 20% of that because of E-rate. So that's why we replaced all the batteries. E-rate is a federal funded program that pays for network equipment. And this was the last year of their. Last year was the last year they're guaranteed everybody would get subsidies. So I just replaced them all at one time because I knew I'd only have to pay 20% of the costs. So why not just replace them all if we're only going to pay for 20%? So anyways, these are up, so you can see there, we're still we're down to close to the voltage that we're getting. It's just I have to put them all in separately, but then I can also plug them into a standard wall outlet. I'm off task there. So anyways, so that's what an UPS does. Has batteries in it that help protect against blackouts. A Smart UPS has a board in it that lets it talk to a computer to shut down the computers at the same time. Okay, so when it says what to consider when buying an UPS, it's the volt amps and whether it's smart or not. I would always get a smart one, okay? Because, well, the question is on your question, Cody, though, would a PS4 know to do a shutdown?
I just need it on for like 5 minutes so I can turn it off myself.
Oh, okay, if you're there yourself. Okay, well then you could probably get a pretty low end. I mean, I would get like that 550 would probably be good enough. I can get a 350. I didn't buy this one, by the way. So maybe you don't need a smart one. You just want one that's gonna stay on for a little while. So if you lose power, you could do normal shutdown. If it's a PC or a Mac or a Linux machine, there'll be software. But for something like that, you'd have to do it yourself. So I've already said this. Surge protectors provide outlets. They protect against overvoltages. What they do is they shunt. Okay, what does that mean? It means, first of all, that none of these things work. Okay, none of the protection for overvoltage works unless the ground is good. Okay, it shunts the extra power to ground that it can't absorb. Okay, so if you've got a house that has all 2 outlet plugs and they don't have the 3rd outlet that's grounded, none of these things are going to work for you. Okay, in the case of my stereo, I think I mentioned it last class, I had a nice one of these plugged in, and there was a 3-prong outlet, and I just didn't realize that the guy before me just put a nice new 3-prong outlet over old wiring that didn't have ground, so I lost my stereo. Okay. So, and by the way, this was a while ago. This was 10 years ago, maybe not 10, but something like that. I didn't have one with an insurance plan on it either. And after that's when I started looking into them and go, yeah, you really need to get that, okay? So they have some kind of clamping voltage that can handle so much voltage or how many joules it can handle, okay? The higher the number, the more energy it can absorb or shunt to ground, okay? So higher numbers are better if you're trying to protect your equipment. But like I said, any one of them with a warranty is at least you're going to get your equipment replaced. Okay, so that's surge suppressors. Power conditioners, they do provide protection against spikes. They're made to regulate power for brownouts. Okay, so they kind of do both, but in my matching, power conditioners are for brownouts. Okay, they do protect against spikes, but they're made for brownouts. And then UPS has already said this. The new ones are called sine wave. And the sine wave ones all filter the AC, which is why you want sine wave ones for servers and stuff anymore and for network equipment. Okay, so they protect brownouts, spikes, and they protect against total power loss for some period of time, depending on how many volt amps they have. And the volt amps that's on the thing is a relation to how long they'll last. And there's no direct equation there. Hopefully, if it's smart, it'll tell you that. We're going to go to one of the closets. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, how easy it is to figure it out. So that's uninterruptible power supply. They can be stand-up ones. Those are actually made to be rack-mounted next to a server. I've already said all this stuff. But the smart ones can be controlled through PC software. They provide diagnostics. They know how good your electricity is. The one I can have it email me whenever the power is not good. I don't have it do that because it's not good a lot. It'll let me know what the load is, so I know how long it'll last. And then I already said this too. It can send a shutdown alarm during a blackout. I don't have any that does a remote startup. Mine I set my servers to just turn back on when the power comes back. So if they shut them all down and then the power comes back, it'll just turn them all back on automatically. Okay, so when we're looking at cost. We're looking at the rating for volt amps to determine really what kind of ups we want. Okay, these things are great. All of these, wow, how'd that go over there? All of these are only good for 3 years, just so you know. That's how long the batteries are good for in ups. After 3 years, you have to replace the battery. Or at least you'll see a huge degradation of how long they last, and then you eventually have to take the battery out of them and put a new battery on the inside of the ups. Which is why I was like, I might as well go and replace them. I've already replaced the battery in those twice, and the replacements never seem to be as good as the originals. I think that's that for ups. Oh, there's a bunch of different manufacturers of ups. We don't need to look at this. There's tons of different companies that do it. We're going to go look in the closet. We'll go to the main closet. So power supplies are rated by their wattage. We've already said wattage is total power. What does that mean when we add it to a computer, and how do we figure out total wattage? One of the ways is a worksheet like this, and you can find other ones online, and this is one that I made myself by looking at other, are you cold? Oh, looking at different online things. So the idea is here is kind of like a grocery shopping list when you go to figure out what your wattage requirement is of your PC. Okay, so if we were using this table or a table like this one in the test, I'll give you a table, say use this table to figure out the wattage of this particular PC. The idea being that you have to read about the PC and say, okay, as I go through here, I'm going to go ahead and pick a color. I'll pick red. Sure, I'll pick red. Okay. Does my PC have a motherboard? Every PC has a motherboard. So on this sheet, I'm saying that a motherboard itself is worth 50 watts. Okay? So every computer starts with that 50 watts on this particular calculation. Okay? Then, what kind of CPU does that computer have? Okay, these are round numbers. They're not exact numbers. It's just for trying to figure out what kind you need. So we're going to go ahead and we'll do this PC right here. Okay, so this one is a dual core PC. Okay, so it's dual core. CPU is dual core. I'm going to say that is adding another 75 watts to my power requirements for this PC. Okay, now on this one, we've got only 2 choices. Sometimes I give you 3 choices on the power on the video cards. It's saying, is it a basic or integrated video card? In other words, it's using low power for video, or is it a high-end gamer video card? And by the way, some high-end video cards go way past this. The one in my computer at home goes way past this. But we're using this as a basic rounding thing. So this one has an integrated one. So we're going to say we got to add 30 watts to what the power supply has to put out for this computer to run. Okay, memory per stick. I have to look at the specifications when I go to the PC. I know this one's got 4 sticks of RAM. So I'm going to put times 4, which equals 60. Okay. Does it have an optical drive at all? Yes, 90% of the time it may not be using it, but yes, it does. It's a CD-ROM, DVD, Blu-ray, that's what an optical drive is. Definitely has one of those, so there's another 30. Does it have a hard drive and how many? This one has, I know, it has 2 hard drives on this particular computer. Okay, there's 2 in there, so it's another 50 watts. Because when we calculate, we're calculating as if they're all running. Okay? We're calculating as if we're using this. Does it have a floppy drive? Most of the time the answer is false anymore. It could. No, it doesn't have a floppy drive. Does it have any other expansion cards? And the only way to know that is to look at the back. So if you're looking at a PC online that I give you, and you don't look at the pictures or read the text, okay, does this have an extra one that we haven't calculated for? Yeah, right there, right? That's a TV card. Okay, so it does have an extra one. These are the expansion card slots. Now, if one of them's a video card, and we've already said it has a video card, we don't count that one. Okay, but you need to look at the picture on the back and see if there's any expansion cards. And in the case of this one, I couldn't even tell you, no, there's none on the back. Okay, so the picture will tell you, or the verbiage will tell you whether it's got an expansion card. So no. USB per use device. Okay, realizing you can plug in and unplug USBs all the time. But there are some that you have to plan for. Okay? If this has a USB keyboard and a USB mouse, you know they're always going to be plugged in. Right? So you got to plan for that. This one always has a USB scanner on it. We're going to say 3 USB devices on this one. Okay? So we're going to say times 3, which equals 9. And then any extra cooling fans on the PC, yes?
Can they just be safe and count on USB ports and just...
You could, however, if I say per use device, and it's a calculated problem, and you go and be safe on your test question, you could safely get yourself the wrong answer. Okay? So if I have a table that says per use device, and you go and say there's 8 USB ports, because there's 4 on the front and 4 on the back, and you say times 8, you may end up with the wrong answer. So if you were doing it for your computer at home, certainly you could. But if you're doing it on a test and the thing says that right there, okay, because it could easily say USB per port, and then you'd be right. Depends on the table that I give you. Okay? And that's a conservativeness. Okay? So the extra cooling fans. There's any extra ones, when you look at the back of the PC, that one doesn't count if you see it because that's part of the power supply. Okay? But are there any extra ones that I see on here? The answer on that one is no. The answer on this one is yes. There's an extra cooling fan on the back one, and since we're doing that one. Okay, so this one says 3 for the extra cooling fan. Okay, this gives us what I call a calculated. Okay, that's important that you understand when I add these numbers, that together, that's calculated. I'm not going to try to do it in my head because I could get it wrong. I'm going to use a calculator to get the calculated number so I don't make a mistake. So 50 plus 75 plus 30 plus 60 plus 30 plus 50 plus 9 plus 3 equals. Did I do that? Did I miss any? 307. Okay. So 307 is our calculated number. Okay, so here's what you need to be able to remember for the test. Not just that. Okay, there are 3 numbers that I can ask you about. Calculated. Those are the 3 things. I will ask you either calculated, minimum, or recommended. Okay, calculated is what we just came up with, 307. Minimum is the calculated rounded to the next 50. So it would be
Wait,
to the next 50.
350.
Okay. And recommended is minimum plus 50, which would be 400. So I can ask you 3 different questions from that one computer. I could say, what is the minimum, what is the recommended, or what is the calculated? And they're all different. Why? Because you can't buy a 307. It doesn't exist. If I ask you what the calculated is, which I almost never do, okay? If I ask you that, I'm just making sure you can do math. If I'm asking you the minimum, I'm saying, will it work? It will work with the 350. It will not work with the 300. Okay, not work is a bad way of saying it. It will work for a limited period of time that will burn up the power supply with the 300. Okay? So if it had a 300 in here, will the computer turn on? Probably. Will it turn on forever? Probably not. Okay? The minimum that should be in this one is at 350. Yeah.
So the recommended is the minimum plus 50.
Minimum plus 50. Okay? Why? Because nobody ever sticks with what's in there in the first place forever. Maybe you do. Maybe you never upgrade yours at all. But all I have to do is throw in a hard drive in, and I may go past it, the minimum. All I have to do is upgrade my memory, and I may go past it. So I would always say that I recommend you getting an extra 50 watts to whatever the minimum is. So if I go and pull this, and I'm not going to, because we just did it for that one, and I pull out the power supply and look at it, what am I going to end up with? Heck, let's do it. We'll take a look and see what's in here. What could go wrong, as I say to Mr. Anderson all the time. It can't be that hard. Major manufacturers, doesn't even have a screw closing it up. Major manufacturers, okay, it says 400W right there. It's a 400 watt power supply. Excellent. Okay. We know that this should last for a long time. If we hit the recommended, it's going to last longer. If we're barely making it, it's not going to last as long. And same thing if it's hitting the minimums, it's not going to last as long. Okay? I don't know why this didn't have a screw in the side of it, but just unplug the Ethernet? No. Must have been going to something else. Okay, so excellent. It's got the recommended in there. It's going to last longer if it does recommended. Is this number, let's say we bought and we put in an 800 watt power supply in this PC. Is there anything wrong with that? What would be wrong with it?
And if you burned it up and you just lost all that money, I guess.
Okay, so it was more expensive maybe. Is it going to run more or less efficiently? Is it going to use more or less power to run this PC? It's actually going to use less, okay? So the more gap you have between what you have and what you require, the more efficiently the power supply runs. It will run cooler, it'll run more efficiently the larger this gap is. So it doesn't ever hurt to buy a more powerful one, okay? Doesn't ever hurt. Yes, does it cost more? Maybe the 800 watt one is prohibitively expensive. I just spent $90 to buy something I could have bought for $15. That is an excellent point. Okay? But it's kind of like if you have a big, huge engine in your car, okay, and you only drive it at 35 because you're grandma. Okay? Does it hurt your big, huge engine to drive slower? No, it doesn't hurt your engine to drive slower. Is it more fuel efficient when it's driving slow? Maybe not. If you got a big 8-cylinder as opposed to a 4-cylinder, maybe it's not more efficient because we're talking gas and it's still going to make all those little explosions and stuff, right? And all 8 cylinders when it only needs 4, but I've gone off task again. Okay? And a power supply, having a larger one does not make it less efficient. It makes it more efficient. Okay? Plus, it's going to run cooler. This 400 watt one, if it's trying to put out 300 all the time, is going to run hotter than this 800 watt one putting out 300. You're not even tasking, right? Okay, so that's the thing that we need to realize. We got calculated, we got minimum, we got recommended. Round up to the next 50 to get minimum, and add another 50 to get recommended. Now I'll ask you any one of those. So when we go to a problem, I'm going to always give you some calculation spreadsheet. I have 2 or 3 different ones. Okay. The numbers that I have on that sheet are not as important as you understanding how to find those things. Okay. So we're going to go to an example one. I'm going to go to Newegg and pick a PC. Newegg Gamer PC. And we'll just do an example. Gaming desktops, sure. And let's. Gaming laptops, no. Gaming mice. One. Is this just it? AMD gaming PCs. I'm just gonna pick this one randomly. I didn't even go to it. There we go. Okay. So now I just randomly picked this. So whether it's gonna have all the information, I don't know. So we'll take a look. Usually Newegg, Tiger Direct are way better than Amazon. I'm almost never gonna give you a PC link on Amazon. I'm never gonna give you a PC. I shouldn't say almost never. I don't think I've ever given an Amazon link to a PC because it almost never has the level of detail information that you need to know. Okay. So let's see if this one does. First of all, I don't care about the overview. I always go to the specifications because I want to know more than the casual user. Okay, so my first thing, I look down here. How many cores does this one have? Because and I'm talking about going back to the sheet. In fact, let me. Okay, so we know it's going to have a motherboard, right? So the next question on here is how many cores does the PC have? So I need to be able to look at these specs and at least look for those things. And if I can't, I have a hard time. I'm looking for the word core. I can hit Control F and I hit type the word CORE. Did I get E? Yeah, where am I at? Not even going down to where I want to be. Why is it not? I saw it right here. I don't know why it's not coming up.
6 core.
Yeah, it's a 6-core processor. Okay, so processor features 6 cores. So, and I said on my little spreadsheet here that 6 or more is 150. Okay, and by the way, we're going to learn a more exact way of doing it than this. This is the non-exact way of doing it. So the next thing I'm going to look at is video card. Now I'm going to bet, since I said it's gamer, okay, you're going to say it's a gamer video card. At least you should, okay? So even that, I really shouldn't even have to look, but it's an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 750 Ti 2 gig video card. Wow, that's a low-end video for a gamer. But we said it's a gamer PC. It says a gamer PC up here. So if we say it's a gamer PC up here, then we're going to go with it's a gamer video card. It's not like it's a bad one. That's not great memory for a video card anymore. But so we're going to say it's a gamer video card. So we're going to say this 120. Now's when it gets kind of complicated because some of them, and I will try not to give you one of the, like this on the test, don't say how many sticks of memory they have, okay? Does this one say how many sticks of memory it has in it? It says 8 gig. It doesn't have any information that I can see here on how many sticks it has. Oh, I found it. How many sticks does it have? 2. It has 2. I had to look a little deeper. Look. Are you guys looking? You're not looking? You're not looking? Okay, up there it said 8 gig of memory, but if I look down here in the memory, it says it has 2 4-gig sticks. So the answer is 2. The answer will be on the one I give you. I'm not going to give you a link to one that's not there. If you can't find it, you just haven't found it. That doesn't mean it's not there somewhere on the link that I give you. So we've got 2. It says it takes up to 16 gig. That's good for us to know. We can add 2 more sticks. If I'm buying a PC, that's one of the things that I want to look at. If it said max of 8, and I've already got in 8, I can't upgrade this at all. Right? So I like the fact that it's got four spots in it. Actually, I don't even know that. It's only got 2. I go back on what I just said. It's got 2 4s in it. It'll take up to 16, but it only has 2 slots total. 0 slots available. What does that mean if I want to put 16 gig RAM? Means I got to throw away the other 4.
Yeah.
Okay? So I would rather see 4 slots than 2 available, because it's cheaper to buy 2 more 4s than it is to throw away those 4s and get 2 16 or 2 8s. Just that's for our information. So I've got 2 slots. Let's go back here over here, and we've got 2 sticks of RAM. So we're going to add 30 here. We're going to look for optical drives and hard drives next. So let's see what kind of optical drives and what kind of hard drives it's got left. Okay, how many hard drives and how many optical drives?
Man, that's a SATA drive on a gamer PC.
SATA 3, but yeah, what would I rather? I'd rather have an SSD. It's going to be SATA drive, but it's a spinny SATA drive, okay? So I've got a relatively, we'll talk about hard drives in the hard drive chapter, fast for a spinny drive. I've got one 1 terabyte drive here, and I've got one optical drive here. So I got both those things on, and you might see more than that, but this one only has one of each, so I'm going to add 30 and I'm going to just add 55 because I can add those two numbers together just fine. And then I'm going to look for the rest of these things. And I will tell you that in most of my charts I just have this 5 and that 5, so it's easier and I'm not using 3s, but this one's got 3. So I'm going to look for, is there any floppy drives, expansion cards, USB, and cooling fans while I'm over there. Okay. So let's see. It says how many USBs? That's really crappy. Oh no, it's got 3. It's got one USB 3.0 and 2 USB 2s. It's got front audio ports. It's got PS2 ports, rear USBs. I've got 6 in the back. Regular audio. It's got a USB keyboard and USB mouse, so that's 2 USBs that I know I'm going to use. And I don't know anything about expansion cards, so we're going to look at pictures here. So got an extra fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I picture number 1, and I'm saying you really need to look at the pictures. So got a floppy drive? Absolutely not. I like that front side. That actually is nice. It's kind of got a nice gamer-looking keyboard and mouse. Whether it's really gamer, I don't know. I think we've already looked at the front, so there's nothing on the front. We do have front memory card readers too. That's kind of cool. I can't see anything from this picture. Can't see anything from that picture. We have no picture for the back. Oh wait, we got more pictures. We have no picture of the back. Let's see if there's anything else I can ascertain. Oh, wait, we do. Okay. So let me zoom in there. My zoom. Where's my zoom? Zoom. That's a video card. I think that's part of the video card too. I think that's all video card right there. So there's none, right? Video card we've already counted for. So that I'm saying that's nothing. I don't see any other ones down here at all. I thought I could zoom in on this. Thought there was a zoom button. Now let's keep looking. Nope, see that's the video card. Right there. Is that all the video card? Or is that something else? I can't tell. I'm going to go ahead and call, oh, that's all part of the same video card, I think. I really thought I could zoom on Newegg photos. No matter how many times I click, it's not going to let me zoom. Let's see, if I go view image. Yeah, that's all the video card. So that's the MSI video card. It's just, let's see, is there any other, oh, we got another cooling fan too. There's one more cooling fan. That's a power supply down there. So we have 2 cooling fans, one on the outside, one here. We've got 2 USBs, and there's our 1 hard drive right there. I think that's all we got. So let's go back to our chart.
What's the difference between a 3.0 and a 2.0 USB?
Oh, way faster. The USB 1.1 to USB 2.0, 50 times faster, 50 times faster. I'm not sure what the 2 to 3 ratio is, but it's way faster. It also requires way more power too. So some devices won't work at 3.0. So we've got no expansion cards. We've got 2 of these, and we got 2 of these. 6 times 4 equals 12. Let's do our math and see what we come up with what we think the power supply should be on this one. Clear. So there's 200 plus 120 plus 30 plus 55 plus 12 equals 417. What's our recommended on this?
450.
500.
Oh, 500, right? Okay, so our minimum is 450, and our recommended is 500. Did anybody remember seeing what it was? Falls far short. You remember what this one had in it? Because I looked right away when I went there, because we're talking about power supply, so why wouldn't I look? Anybody remember?
No.
Trick question, bonus points if you could tell me.
400.
Now you guys are just guessing. It was, what? No, it's 400. Let me go back.
No, I knew it was 400.
I knew it. I just didn't answer when you asked the question.
I said it once, and I was right. That's all that matters.
I'll give you a bonus point. I will not forget. Okay, so let's go down here. Power supply, right, where did I see it? I saw it was a 400 watt power supply. Right there, power supply, 400 watts. Okay, this falls far short of what I would want on a gamer PC. Okay, number one, what's the first thing I'm going to do with this PC when I buy it? Wow. Okay. Besides the power supply, which is what we're talking about. Well, if I was really a gamer, what does anybody know what you already mentioned it? What's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to leave it in there, but I'm going to put it in another one. I'm going to put it in an SSD. Okay. I'm going to put it in a solid state drive, and this machine is going to be 10 times faster right off the bat by putting it in a solid state. I'm going to keep the 1 terabyte in there for my data. But I'm going to have my computer at home. I have a solid state. I have a 2 terabyte and I have a 3 terabyte drive. Okay, in mine. All my data is on the and programs are on the. All the programs are on the 2. All the data is on the 3. And my I shouldn't say all my programs. My operating system, the stuff that I run the most, is on the solid state. My games that I want to play. Okay. So this 400 watt, just from this calculation, falls far short of what the minimum says. 417. Now, granted, again. These are round numbers. It may be that it just hits the minimums for the requirement, and 400 will work. But that 400 isn't going to work forever. That's going to be the first component that goes on this PC.
It's going to be working a lot harder than...
Yeah, it's going to be very inefficient. It's going to be very hot. And I know you guys don't know this yet, but certain processors run hotter than other processors, and AMDs traditionally run the hottest. AMDs traditionally run hotter than Intel. So I've got a really hot processor, a 6-core one. Okay, so I've got a poor choice of power supplies. So one of the questions you're going to see on the test is none of the above. I'm going to say, does this meet the minimums? Why or why not? And then it's going to be an essay question answer. You're going to say, I calculated 417. The minimum would be 450, and this has a 400. Therefore, it doesn't meet the minimums. Okay, done with today. I'll see you guys on Friday. Next class.